people attending. And welcome, Mike. So the purpose of today's meeting is to do a quick Q&A about Advocacy Day coming up on April 29th of this year. We'll be going to DC to advocate for issues affecting the lumber and building materials industry. We have our legislative priorities. We have scheduled events, and we're just going to do a brief overview. This one's going to be light on the policy and more on just what the day is, what we're doing, the run of the show, things like that. And we want it to be more of a free-flowing conversation than a presentation. Is anyone on here not been to DC for an advocacy day, or previously for LegCon? Steve? It's going to be my first time too, so this is going to be exciting. But I am no stranger to, also Joanne hasn't been. I'm no stranger to lobby days. I spent 10 years in the Capitol in New York, working for state senators and other elected officials, and every day of the week is a lobby day in Albany, believe it or not. Usually multiple ones where groups are coming in to talk to you. And it's meaningful. There was an event I went to last week that really drove it home. I was with the Business Coalition of Rhode Island, and we met with the Speaker of the House, and he said, it's a whole package, right? You can't just come here with, government affairs folks and lobbyists on the issues. We need to hear from your members, your local business owners. My members need to understand their issues, on a human level, rather than us just providing, issue memos and legislative insight and, talking inside baseball. They want to hear from you guys. And that's really what makes them understand what's going on in the real world versus what's in a bill, right? And it has a huge impact. And without that, you see a disconnect. Certain members don't want to just hear from lobbyists. Certain members don't have a background in the industry, or they're not, seasoned legislators that understand the inside stuff that lobbyists talk about. They want to hear the real world impact, specifically from the ones who live in their districts. I can't tell you how many times I worked for a member. They went to an event and would exchange phone numbers with someone they met at the event there. And the next day, I'll be getting phone calls from the senator I'm working for. What are we doing about this issue? So-and-so from, the district, I gave them my number last night. They're telling me that this is a problem. What are we doing about it? It really works, and from there, we would figure out what the problem is and how to fix it. And so it's something that's so important, and it's becoming less and less. People don't communicate like they used to. When I first started working in the Capitol, we would get letters all the time, not generated letters or organized things, just from people who had a problem that they thought their government could address. And it's become more inside baseball in a lot of ways in recent years. And that's not good, right? And it's not good for our industry, because the message doesn't get across without you guys coming to talk to the legislators about it. And I'm going to get off my soapbox now. That was longer than I wanted it to be. So I'll put the next part up to Nicolina, who's going to talk a little bit about the schedule of events and what we have planned for you guys.
Sure. Thank you. Did everyone get the attachment with the schedule of events? I can also paste it in if you would like. So I
Can
just
you please
wanted.
paste it in, Nicolina? I didn't get it. Or
Yeah,
I couldn't open it.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Let me just pull it up. Forgive me, I closed everything out before this because I was afraid that my computer was going to go nuts. Let's see.
We'll just cue the waiting music.
Yeah,
there we go. Yeah.
There it is.
There we go. Sure. And I can email that to you after also. So I'm there are two things that I'm really excited about that are new. We now have an official location for our cocktail hour and welcome dinner, which I'll share in a minute. And also, I don't know about anyone on this call. I know Francis and I ran into this. We had a couple of other New York members who ran into this, where the flights for Monday were just insane. It was either you were scrambling to get there at the last minute, or you had to fly in. You had to basically sleep at the airport the night before to catch your flight. I talked to the hotel yesterday about this, and they heard us, and they are extending the room block out to Sunday at a discounted rate of $189 for Sunday night. So if anyone wants to, come in, we're coming in early. I said to Francis, I might cry if I have to run from the airport on Monday to get everything set up. So, and I know that there's some other members who are going to be taking advantage of that. And if you need another copy of the room link, feel free to just shoot us an email and we'll get that out to you. So Monday will arrive. We have the ballroom in the hotel from noon to 5 o'clock. We'll be having some smaller meetings earlier in the day, and the official issue briefing will start about 2:30. I know that seems like a long time. We promise that we will break it up. It's not just going to be sitting and listening. We're going to really try to break out into groups. We're going to open the conversation up. I'm actually really excited about that. I think it's going to help everyone to be much more prepared for the next day. From there, we will walk 2 minutes to the park at 14th. And Francis saw this earlier and said that I should share it because it made him really excited. So let me.
The picture of this place looks
screen.
fantastic. I can't wait to eat dinner there. Nicolina picked an excellent place. And it's going to be even better after a long issue briefing. There'll also be cocktails before.
Yes. So this is the park at 14th. Very beautiful. It's so if I zoom out on this.
Oh, great. I was hoping you were going to show them the area.
Yeah.
Nicolina was telling me how great the location is too to other landmarks and interesting things to check out in DC. Pretty much everything's in walking distance.
And my fear is happening. It's freezing. So the hotel is right here. This is the Franklin Park, and that is the restaurant. So it's right there, which is really great. And on the PDF that I sent out, there is a link to that map. I will also share that. This is for those of you who were there last year. I did this last year also. It's a Google map. It's interactive, but it just marks everything that we will be doing. And I add, suggestions and places of interest also. So I will stop sharing now. So that's Monday. Should be a lot of fun. Tuesday morning, everyone gets a breakfast voucher each night that they stay in the Hamilton Hotel. The way that this works is there is a restaurant in the hotel called Via Sofia. When you go to that restaurant in the morning, I'll coordinate everything with the hotel so that they're ready for us. You go in, they'll seat you, you'll be given a menu for some food options that will be covered by that voucher completely. You'll order your food. You can, sit, relax before we head over to the Capitol. And you can do that the next morning also.
So breakfast is included each day?
Yes.
The complete breakfast?
Yep.
That's great.
Yeah. From there, we'll head to Capitol Hill. My goal is to have meetings in the window of 8 a.m. at the very earliest and like 3:30 at the very latest. I would really like to even kind of truncate that even more. I know it gets tiring. It's a lot. It's for me. I know I was a little overwhelmed at the end. I just really needed a break. So we're going to try and, make that as simple as possible.
And
From
for folks who
there,
haven't gone before,
oh, yeah.
Nicolina, you plan all the meetings, right, with their representatives, and they'll
Yes.
receive a
Yes.
schedule.
Yep. And those should be ramping up in the next couple of weeks, and I will be sure to, start sending those out as I am getting those scheduled this year so that people are a little bit more prepared. From there, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're thinking that instead of doing a very formal debrief, we'll do something a little bit more casual. We'll have a place where everybody can meet up, we can relax, and just kind of talk about our days in a less formal manner. And from there, everyone will have a free night to dine and explore the city. And I'm going to start making some calls about, ticket options if people want to go to museums or if they want to take a tour. And if anyone has anything specific that they want to see and would like some help coordinating that, please feel free to reach out. I know last year we woke up very early on Wednesday morning and I walked the entire mall in like an hour. And it was awesome. I'd never been to DC. And so it's very walkable. There's a lot that you can see in a very small area. And the weather, fingers crossed, should be beautiful. It's late April, early May.
So does anyone have any questions about the trip, the day, how it's going to work on Capitol Hill? The great news is Nicolina takes care of all the hard stuff. The meetings are planned. They're with your local representatives. You'll be with other folks in the meeting, including at least every meeting will have NRLA staff with you as well. Dave has a question.
Yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about going from the hotel to Capitol Hill, the transfer process, the options available?
I can talk about that. So on the map, I've already mapped out options for driving. I mean, I don't think anybody will have a car, but getting an Uber or a Lyft is very easy in DC. The hotel is right across the street from a metro station. There's multiple right in that neighborhood that can get you there. Walking, it's about 45 minutes, but it's through the beautiful historic neighborhood. I have it mapped out on that map to specifically go past Ford's Theater, in the National Gallery. You'll end up in the more garden-esque part of the mall before making it to Capitol Hill. And if it's a nice sunny day and you don't mind getting up a little bit early, or, if you want to decompress, I highly recommend walking. But there will be other options. And if anyone needs us, to order them an Uber or help them with coordinating metro tickets and things of that nature, we will help that. Absolutely.
And Nicolina, where can you find this map that you keep referring to?
Oh, sure. So I sent a link in the chat. It's a Google map.
Which is chock full of all that info, right? Dave,
Yes.
Again, from me.
So a lot of times what happens is on Monday, you formulate a strategy with the group that you're going to be with first thing in the morning. And you say, yeah, we're going to Uber over we're going to meet at 7:45 in the lobby, and we're going to catch an Uber, the four of us, or, if there's, 8 of you, you might get 2 Ubers or whatever. But that's usually worked out the day before. So you have some people to go over with.
Yeah, and we will put everyone in those groups during the issue briefing so that people can figure those logistics out amongst themselves also. Go ahead, Jen.
Big thing to note, because I've been doing this for many, many years, and it doesn't matter if you're male or female, your choice of footwear. I think John Halgren and I have had this discussion. You do not want to wear your newest shoes, and you do not want to worry about high heels or brand new dress shoes. You really want to focus on comfort. Nobody pays attention to your feet, but you're on them all day. And if you are determined to walk and explore, you really should be cognizant of that fact.
Thank you. I made that mistake last year. And I will say another mistake that I made is I brought a very big bag, which was just got heavier and heavier as the day went. And I had no pockets. So I highly recommend pockets.
Yeah, I think you'll be hard pressed to find a building that isn't made of the hardest stone on earth there. So all the floors will be very hard.
And so, yeah, you do have to go through security to get into the congressional offices. So leave your knives at home and go easy on the metal. Are we going to take a group photo at any time?
Yes, we are. And we are still working with Jacob, who is the NRLA communications. He will be with us this year to figure out where and when we'll do that. But we will have that figured out before we even get there, and we'll let everyone know.
Some of that's going to be based on the weather. So
Mhm.
ideally it'll be outside, maybe on the Capitol steps or something like that. But we're waiting till we get closer to the date to make a final determination. Hopefully we have sunshine. That'd be nice.
Yes. And we will also be, Jacob will also be getting film for promotional videos and things of that nature. And we will be asking for volunteers to, get on camera and answer a couple of questions. So be ready. Dave?
Can you spend a minute on the the lobbying day? I've not gone before, so I just wondering what to expect.
Yes, absolutely. So what will happen is we'll have everyone meet in a general area when we get there before the meetings to just kind of make sure that everyone's together and everyone knows where they're going. You will be given a map of the Capitol. You will also be given a schedule with all of the locations of each of your meetings, who they're with, and who else from the group will be with you. During the meetings, it depends on, and so some of them will be with the legislator themselves. Some of them will be with staff, which is, what Francis did when he was in the New York State Capitol. I will say that the staff are very well versed in whatever we're talking about, so they're very helpful. It's not a bad thing to get a staff member. And once you're in the meeting, it will be, Francis, do you want to help me? I don't know how to really
Sure.
word this. Thank you.
So you'll be in a group, with other folks. And so you'll definitely be with people who have gone before, including some NRLA staff in every meeting. And when you meet with the legislators, they really just want to get to know you. They want to hear about your issues, but usually, it's about building a relationship. Introducing yourself, what you do. They want to hear about your company, where you're from, and the impact you have in the district, because you'll be meeting with your local representatives. They're going to be representing you. And that's really, the core of the meeting, and they're quick. Usually they're between 20 and 30 minutes. And so, when you're with a group, by the time you're done with introductions and talking for a few minutes, it's almost over already. Jen, do you want to jump in?
And also, I've been doing this for it's been over 10 years. When you figure out who, say I'm from upstate New York, so the Eastern New York group, you find out who's in your group, you kind of pick and choose sometimes who is going to lead off the discussion. Say, if I'm with Doug Ford and Doug's very passionate about workforce development, he knows how to spearhead that conversation. So we don't put it all on one person to lead the group. We kind of allow each person to speak, and they want to hear personal stories of how it impacts or affects your business. And some people come into this thinking that it's high pressure. It's not. It's more of a conversation you're having with someone who's very interested in why you're on the Hill and what your concerns are. So it is very, it's like having a conversation in a hallway sometimes. It's just very low key.
All
That
right,
was very
thank
well
you.
put. Thank you.
Very
Yeah,
helpful.
it's rare that you would get into the policy, the deep details of a bill or something like that. It's more about a personal story, what's happening in real life rather than what's happening in a bill, is the way I kind of put it.
And if I could just jump in for a second, it's Joe Ciccarelli. One of the things too, you're talking about making it personal and letting these people know about who you are and the impact it has. One of the things that has been very successful for us is staff that we sometimes meet with when legislators can't make it are from the state that we're from. I've been in meetings with, staff from Rosa DeLaura's office or, Larson's office. They are from Connecticut, and introducing yourself and getting to know them and the commonality and the connection. These young people that are working, for these senators and Congress people are from your home state, and come to find out, some of them grew up in the next town over from where I live. So all of a sudden you get that connection with them. And when they have to pass on your priorities or your visit to the congressman or the senator, they go in with a lot more excitement because you've made that connection. And it's very important. It's all about the connections you make.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, good point, Joe. And then I would also say that almost to Jen's point, like the day before in our issues briefing, we're going to be breaking out by tables, I think, by state. And you'll be with the other people from your state, and you'll look at the issues, and if there's 4 issues or 5 issues and there's 5 people in your group, maybe each person takes one issue, and you're going to talk about, maybe you're more familiar with that issue than others. You're going to talk about that issue, that one issue, at all 4 of your meetings that day, or how many meetings you have. So, you're comfortable with the subject, and by the last meeting, you're really comfortable with it. And, but like Francis says, you got to read the room. Sometimes they don't really want to talk about the issues, and sometimes they do. So once you, first of all, allow plenty of time to get there, because there could be traffic. When you go through security, sometimes there's a big line, and sometimes you breeze like through because no one's in line. So you got to be prepared for the big line. And if you get there early, fine. You get to their office and you kind of wait out in the hall until you have everyone. And then you go in, and sometimes you can go in early, actually. If you can go in early, they have a couch or something. If you're early, you can say magazine. They say, hey, have a seat, have some water, whatever. Then you sit there until everyone in your group's there. You check in with whoever's receiving you, and you tell them where you're from, who you have an appointment with. Then they'll usher you, when it's time, they'll usher you maybe in another smaller office with a conference room table. And it's usually a multiple aides. If it's aides, it's like 1 or 2, and you sit down, and like Joe says, you kind of find commonalities because they're almost all the time they're from the state you're from. And we'll have handouts, and if I usually like to kick it off and talk about the association and the industry for about 30 seconds or so, and then I'll pass it off to a member to talk about an issue or something like that, and kind of go around the room that way. And it's you don't get really into details unless they ask. And it goes real quick. And it's it's kind of interesting and kind of fun at the same time, kind of exciting. That help?
I think you covered it very well, Dave. I know the first
Yeah,
time I
thank
went,
you.
it was extremely intimidating, but I've found since going a few times now, the hardest part of the day is getting to where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, it's a big place.
Yes, and we
And
will
several
go
buildings.
over. We will go over that and how to read the room numbers. I know that they're different in different buildings, but once you're in, it feels, I don't know, at first I think I was a little lost, but then you kind of start to figure out where you are because it's all underground. But no one should ever be alone, and we can always ask people. There's lots of staff around. There's lots of people who know where they're going.
Do we have any other questions? Dave, you're all out.
No, if they do ask a really detailed question and you don't know the answer, just say, I'm really not sure, but I'll find out for you. And then you let Nicolina and Francis know, and then they'll find out the answer and they'll follow up.
Yes,
after the
everyone
fact.
will have our cards.
Yeah.
And they can hand them out much as they want.
That actually doesn't happen very often, but on occasion it does. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. They don't usually get into the hard details. It's they do these meetings all day. It's not uncommon what we do, and they're used to speaking to folks who are, genuinely just coming because they're interested in talking about what's going on with them and how this affects them, rather than some legal line in a bill or something like that. That's not usually what the discussion's about.
Oh, if we do have an actual representative or senator in our meeting, we always want to get a picture.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that too. Always be looking for photo ops, and Jacob will be around with the camera. But if he's not there with you, definitely get a picture with him. We'd love to put that in the LC when we do our summary in July. It'd be great. All right. Well, with that, that's a wrap of our first Q&A. As we get into more of these, we wanted it to be short, not all at once. We'll cover more of the policy. We'll do some policy briefs of the main issues that we're going to be focusing on during Advocacy Day. If you do want to take a look at them, we did attach them to this meeting, a quick overview of what they are, and we'll have much more detailed documents going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to thank everyone for coming today and giving us some time on your lunch hour. I appreciate it a lot. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys there and at some of our future Q&As if you're available.
Back to March Madness.
Worry about March Madness, don't we?
Yes. And in the meantime, if anyone, has questions that they want answered, either addressed in the next Q&A or, just in general, please feel free to reach out at any time.
Or if you just want to give me a call, I'm always happy to chat. Always available.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Great. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
See
you
soon.
much.
All
Have
right.
a good
Bye,
day.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.